Welcome to Just John and April, the relationship podcast, your place for life, love, and laughs. In today's episode, Relationship Hacks Part 3 and the word of the day. How you doing, babe?
I am suffering. My allergies. If I sound, nasally, it's because I had hay fever today.
Yeah, what's up with you, man? You
I
had
don't
to take
know.
Benadryl before bed last night?
Yeah, and I have this massive sinus headache.
That's bad. See,
my throat.
I don't understand why this happens at this time of year every time. So school has started back. This was the first official week back to school. So April's been back to work for a couple of weeks now, but there were no kids there. And of course, you teachers already know no kids means it's not that bad. But now the kids are there, so it's a lot more, and so this is the first week. A lot's been going on. April's been handling a lot of stuff, and then she comes with this hay fever. So it's like, why the timing? I don't understand.
It's because the season's changing, and it changes earlier.
It clearly changed earlier here. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
Why are leaves falling already and it's August?
I'm like, what is happening?
I don't get it.
Somebody told me this happened, but I did not believe them.
Yeah. Well, they were
and
right.
Now I'm experiencing it.
Yeah. This is crazy.
I didn't have to start taking allergy medicine this early.
That's true. You do sound like
and then
congested,
it's not
babe.
even working. I should not have to take Benadryl at night to sleep.
Is that funny? Isn't that bad?
Actually, let me stop. No, it is working because during the day I'm fine.
Okay.
But
that's when you come home. It comes
actually,
down
it's
on you.
right after lunch when I start going downhill.
Now,
it just gets worse.
Now, yesterday you told me you had to take the kids out for recess. Did you have to take them out today?
I did.
So that's really what's happening.
No,
now.
but I didn't take my allergy medicine yesterday, so I was saying that's why. I took it this morning. So I should be fine.
I don't know. Did you take D, decongestant?
Yes.
Okay.
I took Allegra D.
Wow. I'm sorry, babe.
I know.
Really sorry you're having to deal with that right now. That's a lot. Maybe I can help with something later on. I don't know if that works for allergies, though.
You know what? He always has to go there, right?
But I'm just saying, you never know. You need to try that in every situation. It might work.
Oh, my goodness.
Anyway, so we wanted to talk about relationship hack number 3, and this hack is different than the first two. If you haven't seen the other two, go back 2 episodes. Episodes 19 and 18 are both relationship hacks, and so you should watch those. In fact, if you haven't subscribed yet, you should do that right now as well. It's a good time.
Yeah.
So anyway, relationship hack number 3 has to deal with something that we think is sort of near and dear to our heart, something that we've dealt with in our own relationship.
It is.
April and I are very blessed. We're not going to lie. We're not going to sugarcoat it and act like it's, most people have serious in-law issues.
Yes.
And we've been blessed that we don't have a lot of in-law issues.
Right.
But I think when we look back on it, we realize that part of the reason why we don't have in-law issues has to do with the way that we handled things early on in our relationship. We got some tips from some experienced people early on about how to do certain things, and we want to share those hacks with you. We hope that they will help you, and we think that actually may have helped things. I think our in-laws are dope anyway, but
They are.
I think every in-law has the potential, if things aren't handled well, to sort of get into your relationship in a way that you don't want them to be.
It's true. Yes.
So you have to handle it the right way. So this hack is, we'll boil it down to saying basically, handle your own people. All right? That's the hack. You may not understand what that means.
Handle your own folks.
Yeah.
Okay.
You may not understand what that means yet, but we'll explain it to you right now.
Yes.
Basically, you should not handle conflicts with your in-laws. You should allow your spouse to do that.
So if there's a situation, okay, let's say I have a situation with John's mom.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't like the way she did something, or I didn't like something she said to me. I'm going to talk to him about it.
Right.
And he's going to try to handle whatever that situation was with his mother.
Yes.
I will not handle it.
Right. And you have to really resist the urge, depending on what this thing is, to try to handle it with your in-law. You want to make sure that you allow your spouse to do it. And the main reason why you do that is because your spouse is actually related to his or her parent.
Right.
That means that their parent is not going to readily disown them because of some minor conflict.
Exactly.
But especially early in your marriage, if you try to handle it yourself, then there's a possibility that your in-law will think of you differently and begin to treat you maybe possibly not that great. Or there could be just some tension between you there that you don't want there to be. You want things to be completely comfortable as possible all the time with your in-laws when you guys are together.
And it's true, because if I have a situation, and I mean, we've seen this with friends and some family members where they've had issues with their in-laws, and usually you're emotional about it.
Yes, true.
You're either mad,
Yes,
you're frustrated, you're
right,
irritated,
right.
You can be annoyed,
any of those
you
things.
could actually be angry.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I were to go and talk to his parents or his siblings or something about something I'm angry about, I could come across as, being mean.
True.
Or just mad
or disrespectful. Maybe there's a way
Yeah.
that they handle conflict in that family
That's
that you handle
true.
it differently.
That's
And
right.
you could come off as disrespectful.
That's true. And I think that it would change the way that the parents or your family would see me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's harder for the in-laws to, I don't want to say, forgive, but to forget, really.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
might forgive, but forget what
Right.
you said or what you did. So
Right.
it's like the next time you see them,
Right.
that's what they think about.
Yes.
Or they're walking on eggshells because they're not trying to, cause you to go off again.
Yes. And here's the thing. I think that most young couples, I shouldn't say young couples, let's say new couples.
Yeah.
Because you could be in a new relationship, but you're not necessarily young. So let's say early on in your relationship as husband and wife, I think one thing that we underestimate sometimes is the importance of our relationship with our in-laws. A lot of times we don't recognize early on that if we don't handle things the right way, we could be setting things up for years of discomfort, years of potential avoidance.
Years. You are so
And
right.
you don't really want that. I mean, you
No.
want to be able to come together sometimes. Now, you're not going to be with them all the time, presumably, but, some major holidays or birthdays or stuff like that, especially when you have kids and things,
Yeah,
you
but
expect.
you know what, babe? There are some people who actually do live near their in-laws, and
That's
they have
true.
to see them more often.
That's
They might
true.
even take care of the kids.
You're right.
And imagine you having, I'm just saying.
You're right.
Imagine you having issues with your in-laws,
Yeah.
and the way that you handled it because
Yeah.
you were angry made it so that they don't even want to see you
Yes.
when you drop off your children
That's
or
very
whatever.
true. That's very true.
And there's tension there.
And here's what we're trying to tell you. If you get nothing else out of this podcast, we want you to get this. Don't underestimate how much work it takes to create a positive relationship with your in-laws.
Yes.
And I'm not just talking about the parents. It could be the siblings, it could be the cousins, whatever. The extended family, that takes work to make it work. But if you put the work in on the front end of the relationship, it makes it so much easier on the back end.
Yes,
So
you
now
can
we've been
let up a
married.
little bit.
That's right. We've been
Yeah.
married almost 20 years, and we have no issues at all. It's because we learned some things early on, and one of them was handle your own folk. That
Right.
is huge.
It's huge. So you have to make sure that he has to own whatever it is I'm upset about.
So let's say April comes to me
Okay.
and she has a problem with something my mom did, like you said earlier. If I'm going to talk to my mom about it, I've got to make sure that when I do, I own what I'm feeling. I'm not coming to my mother on April's behalf. You understand this?
Right.
I'm going to my mom on my own about my issue that I have with something that happened, as opposed to, Mom, April told me that you said.
Exactly.
Or April told me that you did. You know what I'm saying? You're not trying to do that, because that creates even more tension. This has
does.
got to be your issue that you have with your in-law.
Yes.
And it's important that if you do it that way, I'm telling you right now, they may get upset with you, but they're not going to disown you.
Now, you meant your issue with your
I said in-law, but I
parent.
meant parent. Yes, thank you, April. Yes, my issue with my parent. That's
Right.
exactly what I meant. Yes. So when we say own the issue, what we're really saying is do not throw your partner under the bus.
Yeah.
This is very key.
If John were to go to his mom and say, April feels this way about something you did, what would happen is the mother would immediately, or father, whatever, say she put him up to this.
That's exactly
or
right.
she caused him to think this way.
Yes.
This is not how my child really thinks. He
Yes.
really doesn't feel this way about me.
Right.
Because that's just how we do.
That's right.
You know?
Thereby creating another rift.
Right, because you
A
want to
new one.
blame. You really, even parents. Okay, as a teacher, parents want to blame something else, someone else, for why their child acts the way they do.
You're talking about your middle school parents or something like that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
so as a teacher, I've seen where if the child is in trouble, they will say, "Well, was was Bobby near him?
Okay.
Or, well, I did have him up late last night. So it's always,
Right.
giving
There's
him
always
a reason.
Yes. Yes.
So if you go to your mom about
Yes.
me
Right.
and you say, April feels this way.
Yes. Her immediate reaction is going to be, she's, corrupting my son.
Right. And now he's feeling these ways that he wouldn't feel if she didn't put it in his head.
Right.
That's just what parents do.
Yes. That's true. Yeah.
And so when you go and it is your problem.
Yes.
Mom, I didn't like when you said or did this to my wife. Then it's like, did she put him up to this? Maybe not, because he sounds very sincere.
Really sounds like
it sounds like this really is his problem.
Yes.
And so it makes it so that parent has to listen.
Yes, exactly.
And then they won't disown you.
Right. So here's the point. They may not actually necessarily take it seriously. You may not get the resolution that you want, but here's what ends up happening. You don't throw your partner under the bus.
Right.
I'm saying that's the worst thing that can happen in that situation.
Yes.
Sometimes the way that we mishandle conflict when it comes to our in-laws creates new problems so that it becomes even more difficult for us to be together later on. And you want to make sure that you can be with your extended family.
Exactly.
That's really the point.
It is.
So if you own it, then guess what? It's just like it was when I was 11 at home having an argument with my mom or talking to my mom about something. It's not anything new like this new girl that came. No, my mom's going to associate it with, I know this boy. This is how he's always been.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's fine.
And your parent might be upset with you for a little while.
That's okay too.
But they won't continue to be upset with you.
And even if they do, that's better than being upset with your new spouse. That's what I'm saying. So they don't know your spouse. They're still getting to know your spouse. And what you're trying to do is present the best picture of your spouse possible. That's why we don't share negative situations
things,
and stuff like that. We don't call our parents and talk about, man, you know what April did to me yesterday and stuff like that. You don't do that because you know what? 9 times out of 10, after you guys make up, you forget to tell your parents that everything is fine.
That's true.
Okay, so now all they have in their mind is all these things that this new woman is doing to my baby.
Right.
So that's why you don't handle it that way. You find some other person. You don't tell your parents that. You don't talk to your sister or whoever because you're trying to make sure that new spouse is one and becomes a part of the family. And the best way to do that is present them in the most positive light all the time. Yeah. Find a way to brag on your spouse.
Right.
Your husband does something great or your wife does something great, even if it's not like the biggest thing in the world, just something little. Share that. Say, man, do you know I came home today and it was late and I had a long day at work and John had food ready for me when I came through the door. Man, he is so sweet. It was my favorite meal.
He's talking about tonight.
Well, it wasn't anything big, but
had the kids in bed,
Yeah. See, I deserve a little something. You know what I'm saying? But the point is, it's not just withholding the negative. It's also accentuating the positive.
It's true.
Talk to your parents, talk to your siblings, talk to your people about your spouse in a positive light so that they can
good things they're doing.
Yes. So that they can think to themselves, man, I'm so glad they're married.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Now here's the thing that's the reality. I was talking to somebody this week, someone I work with, and she was talking about how her kids are all grown and gone now. She was saying when you become a parent, you don't stop worrying about them. But here's what she said. She said, you worry less about them when they leave your house. You know why? Because she can decide what she wants to think that they're doing in their own home. She said when they're in her house, she said if it's 12 a.m., 1 a.m., and they're still not home, she's up worrying. She can't even sleep. How come they're not back? But if they're out till 1 a.m. at their own home, she can imagine them in their bed because you know what? She's not in the house.
That's crazy.
It's huge.
I never thought about
right.
that.
So here's what I'm saying. I hadn't thought about it either until she said it.
Wow.
So here's what I'm really saying. Your parents want to believe that you are in a great relationship.
Exactly.
And everything negative you tell them is going to reinforce that you're in a bad one, even if you're in a good relationship.
That's true.
If all you do is share the bad.
Yeah.
But if you share only positive, then anytime they think about your spouse, they're going to be saying to themselves, man, I'm so glad he married her.
Right.
I'm so glad she married him. That's what you want them to think.
And not saying that you are faking it.
Right.
But what we're saying is, what is the point of putting the negative of your spouse out there to your parents or your family members?
Yeah, right.
The thing about it is, you can have those people that you talk to or that person that you talk to about the things that go on in your relationship if you want to get some advice.
Right.
But your family, they're not the ones.
No, that shouldn't
your
be the
parents,
people.
your close family members, those are not the people that you really should be telling those detailed situations about your spouse.
Right.
I mean, it's just not. I just don't think that it's healthy.
I don't think so either.
You know?
And here's what we're really saying. We think that in the end you'll regret it.
Yeah.
It may take you years, but
yeah.
years and years from now, you're going to think back and
You'll
say,
see
man,
it.
John and
Yeah.
April told us and we didn't listen. For real.
Well,
It
we
feels
hope
good
you
in the
will.
moment. No, seriously. If you tell off your in-law, it feels good in the moment.
Yeah, that's so true.
And
yeah.
and especially if you have a good relationship with your parents, it feels good in the moment when you're going through something and your spouse says, it feels good to tell your parent on them.
Yep.
That feels great at the
Yes.
time. But you will
It's
regret
true.
it later.
It's true.
Because it's going to affect your relationship with them. It's going to make
actually
things.
going to bite you back.
That's right.
You know, and it's so funny because I've seen situations where someone will tell negative things about their spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And then when things are good and everybody's like, that person's coming, it's like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Right.
But it's too late. Now
Right.
it's biting you back, biting
That's
you
right.
in the behind
That's right.
because you just trying to get all that emotion off of you.
Yes.
And you're not thinking about what happens later.
That's
Think
right.
about what will happen later.
Yeah.
So, try to control yourself.
Here's what we're really trying to get to. We're trying to get to the point where I think we are right now. We're at the point now, almost after 20 years of marriage, where your parents own me as their son, as
Okay.
if your mother carried me in her womb.
Exactly.
And same with my parents.
Yes.
So what happened was we created space for our parents to accept our spouses
Yes.
as family.
Fully.
That's what you're trying to
Fully.
do.
And it takes time.
It takes time. And listen, you don't get that much FaceTime with them. Well, maybe you do. Maybe if your in-laws live close, it'll happen quicker for you. But for us, we were seeing our parents 4 or 5 times a year.
Yeah.
So I'm saying it took a long time for my parents to really get to know April.
Yes.
And for me to really, and for them to, her parents really get to know me,
Yes.
to really accept me like that. I would say after year 5 or 6, maybe, I really started to feel like, man, I'm really in the family now.
Yeah.
But I think it would have been much harder if we hadn't handled this the right way.
I agree. And I think that now, we're at the point now that I think I could go to his parents.
You probably could.
And John could go to mine.
And say anything you want. And guess what?
Yeah.
They're going to be on your side.
Exactly.
They ain't siding with me at all.
No, I feel the same way with mine.
Yeah.
They're going to give you excuses.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
And that's where you want it to get.
That's exactly
you
what
want
you
it
want
to
it to
get there. And a good way for you to do that is to make sure you keep your spouse in the right light.
Yep. Positive
Okay?
light. Yep.
And that you handle your family issues.
There are things that happen in your marital relationship that sometimes intensify the relationship between you and your in-laws.
Starts with the wedding.
It starts with the wedding. That's very true.
Matter of fact, that is the best place to begin.
It is. You're right.
That's the best place to begin.
Yeah.
The wedding.
Yeah.
Then
The other place is having kids.
your kids.
Yeah.
Having kids.
Yeah.
And it could even be moving.
Sometimes that's it too.
You know, that
but
could be it too.
here's the thing about having kids though. We wrote this in a recent article actually that we have online. When your parents become grandparents, they lose all their objectivity. They turn into different people actually. You really think about it.
My mother begged me. Did you hear me?
Begged
me not to spank my children.
April got spanked all the time. Same mother. This wasn't not her mother. This is her mother.
I get it. I get it.
Something happens with the birth of a new baby, and when they become grandparents, they lose their minds. They're no longer your
I
parents.
don't understand what happens.
All the things that they did to you, they don't think is even
my kids
appropriate.
eat ice cream in my parents' bed
Right.
and stuff that.
Yeah, we grew up not being able to watch TV during the week. When my kids go to my parents' house, they're watching TV the whole time.
Right.
I don't get
Movies
it.
and
Yeah, all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So here's my point, though. My point is that you have to realize that there are certain, let's call them hinge moments on which sort of the door swings open or closed. Hinge moments that something changes dramatically. And sometimes having a baby is one of those moments. And so you have to be ready for that and know that whatever relational things that might be there with you and your in-laws, those things might intensify during those times.
True.
It's going to almost be like a storm sometime. You got to weather that storm.
Yes.
And you have to really be careful that during that time you don't lose these things that we're telling you. You may have a conflict during that time that gets so bad and you're struggling and you say to yourself, oh, I'm going to handle this one myself.
Yeah, like I gotta
Don't
go
do
talk to her
it.
because she can't be coming in my house doing this, or he can't be coming over here.
Don't do it.
No.
I'm telling you now.
No, it is
Let
not.
your
And
spouse
that's what I
handle their
said.
own people.
It's hard when you're emotional about it.
It is, babe.
You know,
It's very hard.
because you have words you want to say, specific words, and
Yes.
you don't feel, and you know that your spouse is not going to bring it in that way.
That's true.
You know,
So you want to handle it your way.
You want to handle it your way,
Yeah.
but resist the urge.
That's right.
To do that.
Yes. Let
Because-
them handle their own
yes,
people.
Let them handle their own people. You know.
Now, one last thing you have to remember. Remember that you have to interact with your in-laws for years to come. So if you're serious about this relationship and this is it, if this is the person you've married and you're really planning to stay with them the rest of your life, that could mean upwards of 50 years together. And I don't know how long your in-laws will last, but they may be around that whole time.
And are you wanting to deal with
every single time having tension?
Yeah.
It's not worth it, y'all. You
got to put in the work.
You really do. It's hard on the front end.
Moments,
yes. It's hard on the front end, but you can do it.
It is.
Yeah. So this is a hack that we think works. Hopefully it will help you. We believe you handle your own people. Make sure you don't throw your partner under the bus. And know that this is going to be your family for the rest of your life. You're trying to make it so that your spouse is able to be accepted as family just as much as you are. Take our advice and use this hack. Let them handle their folk. You handle your folk, and that's it.
I'll handle my folk.
I'll handle mine.
Exactly. Now it's time for word of the day.
Word of the day. Okay.
The word of the day today is safeguard.
Safeguard. What's the definition of that,
Yes,
April?
safeguard, something that serves as a protection or defense or that ensures safety.
Wow.
You want to make sure that your relationship is safe.
Yes.
Safe from turmoil.
Yes.
Safe from mess. Safe from drama.
And you want to make sure that you are safeguarding your spouse.
Exactly.
Safeguard your relationship. One of the best ways to do that is for you to handle your own people. So make sure you do it. And we believe it will stay safe.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching Jess, John, and April.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also hit that notification bell to be notified about our next episode.
See you next time.
Bye.